Sit down at home decided to watch some TV, listening to the news by Gordon Mosley, and listening to the things that he say he tracked in tonight, paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. But when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I had to declare them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced people that people ain't learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say we are pretend that they didn't learn nothing. But once you're black and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that. They say we are coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Guyana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern. I hope one day black people will learn. ERC that I would like to know if any of his members happens to be black people. And if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair. And we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man want to kill out all black people by poison. But if his shoes was on the other foot, would have been a big threat. But up to this day, this ERC can't do nothing as yet. How come it's only black people committing cybercrime? Then pretty on social media fussing people all the time. I still say black people in learning. But one day will come when the entire table will turn. Issues we see they fail to condemn because these people think that the law is only for them. And anybody else who decide to file a complaint, they go call you a racist and don't want to hear nothing. Plenty complaint from time to time has been brought to their attention, but because of this one-sided cybercrime is why they don't show any concern. There's only one set of people that they really care about, and black people must take the abuse and shut them out. Kidaki Amsterdam went to court just recently for an issue that was highlighted by the same ERC. And the pretext the police decide to jump on his case. Without a search warrant, they went and search up the man's place. Let us all agree that black people under attack. Different laws for you and me just because we black. I still singing black people in London. To all my black friends, we must put a stop to all this nonsense. Cybercrime laws to keep people silent, just to make sure nobody criticizes this government. And while that is a very clear case of dictatorship, it is no surprise that the ERC ignoring it. Why only the chosen few is allowed to have things their way, when people like me and you must have nothing to say? And when ministers in the government start to launch their attack, you never hear this ERC come out and talk about that. They send a policeman all the way to New York. This fella went up there to serve a customer on report board. Under this, this government decide to fabricate a case, but like they forget the warning they get from Black T-shirt Jades. The vice president described that he use as a low life. Because of this kind of abuse, he don't have a wife. I still singing black people in learning. Just the other day, I would a man see help is on the way.
Don't be a victim. Beat the heat with EC crystals. Party ice in large and small quantities. Call 682-7981 or visit us at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. EC crystals, pure party ice. It's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday with Al Christie and popular DJs at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongue, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, and then of course the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned, the decor is on point, the music's on point, everything's on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay, or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely need it too.
Stop running around like headless chicken. Go to Ashton's Marketplace for whole and cut chicken, beef, pork, processed meats like bacon, beef franks, smoked ham, ground pork, calabresa, and lots more. Ashton's offers wholesale and retail. Check them out. Call 613-2332 or WhatsApp 434-327-3955. Ashton's Marketplace at 72 Rob Street, Border.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongley, looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. Listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely need it too. Thank you. All right, so you might be wondering where we are, still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching, the blind matching, the carpet matching, the this matching, the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're going to be drunk. We got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come, drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the bed. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's it.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. Planning a party? Worry no more. We have all the supplies you need. At EC Party Rentals, we have folding chairs, folding tables, square tables, round tables, long tables, short tables, big tables. We have chairs, red chairs, gold chairs, white chairs, crystal chairs, chairs of all type, throne chairs. What you want, we have. Food warmers, coolers, ice, beverages. At EC Party Rentals, we have what you need to have a good time. You plan the party, we do the work. Call us 622-5933. Easy Party Rentals. Let's keep your party going. Yes, Oldies fans, Club Twilight and Blue Ribbon present Thursday Dancing Oldies. Real Big People Oldies from Thursday, February 27th at Club Twilight Sideline and Buxton. Yes, come on out. Let's go way back to the past. Thursday Night Oldies at Club Twilight Sideline and Buxton North with Blue Ribbon the Boss and the Club Twilight family. Come on down. Morning, your morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is 7 hours 38 on the 20th day of February in the year 2025. Welcome to the program. How you been? How have you been? How was you yesterday? How was you last night? What did you achieve yesterday? How are you getting through with those smart goals you've set? How hopeful are you that things are going to change in this country? I see the PNC got a mash band. How many of you going out to mash with the PNC? Y'all gonna have a good time, man. And then take that same energy Tuesday morning and go in front of GCOM. Good. Those of you who are hoping to go get your cash grant today, be of your best behavior. Right? Cash grant paying across Region 4 right now. Definitely they're paying today, tomorrow, and Saturday at Tipperary Hall, Buxton, for those people, I guess, in Buxton and its neighborhood. I wish you all the best. I wish you all smooth flow. Y'all be of your best behavior. Don't be combatant. But look out for the skullduggeries, right? Because I've seen a lot of skullduggery happening across the place. A lot of people are saying that I can't say, I would say they're being duped in some instances. I just saw a TikTok with a young man saying that, you know, he was at the place of payment since before, according to him, body thief was warm. And whoever was in control of admitting people to the venue was demanding money from people, or not demanding, I would say, was taking money from people to allow them to jump the queue. And so his number 69, I think, became like 169 because everybody who could pay jump in the queue ahead of him. Not nice. Not nice. We have to have a respect for each other and each other's time and humanity and everything. You go, you reach somebody in line, be respectful to them, man. Because you won't want them to do that to you. Even if they could pay to jump the queue. Right? And the temperament in this country is everybody looking to catch a raise, a fast hustle. That has become a hustling territory. Everybody hustling, the whole government hustling. So why not? Why not? But it's not a humane thing to do. It's not a right thing to do. And in some instances, you could find yourself in some serious problems because some people might just lose it. We talk about road rage. Somebody might get a queue rage, a cash grant rage, and you know it could have dire consequences. So I beg y'all, toe the line, man. Toe the line. Do the respectful thing. Good. I might be up and down the road. Well, I definitely would be up and down the road today. I have a lot to do. And so I'll keep my ears to the ground to hear how the cash grant payments are going. Especially I want to see how my boxing people they're going to behave. As I've said it and I've said it before, the PPP has made people in this country so poor that even their morals have become poor. I hope Buxtonians will set a better example than the rest of the country that we're seeing. Kill your head and do it quietly. Good. Yeah, that's an encouragement to you. It's Thursday, so we have Mr. Winston Jordan on today. And I didn't intend staying too long. I want to give him maximum time today, as I always try to do, because, you know, he always has so much to say, so much to say, so much to say. And while he is concerned about concentration span, I know a lot of people, I know a lot of y'all got the stamina to deal with all that he has to say, right? All that he has to say, and so let's see where that goes. Life is full of ironies. And they'll tell a story eventually, not today. It is not a day for storytelling. It is not a day for storytelling at all. But I noticed the gas the energy project has been delayed once more. No surprise there. I see Brassington. I didn't even know that man's still around Brassington. You know? A lot of these PPP, friends, family, and cronies, cooks and vagabonds, and mismanagers and so on, that you might think of disappeared off the scene. They're quietly working in some back rooms. Right? They're quietly working in some back rooms, and only every now and again you see them push ahead. I wonder where the rest of the gang is. Brassington is actually the consultant to the gas to energy project. I guess the PPP, you can only trust a few to enable its corruption and so on and so forth. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? They don't miss the opportunity to show their faces on the international scene. So we eventually see them coming out of the woodwork. I wonder who else there were. You know this man used to be on the Black Clothes Squad, is advisor to Robertson, right? His name again? The one that used to ride shotgun with Fraser. The one that is alleged to have been complicit in Fraser's demise and Shaka Blaze murder. Y'all know what we're talking about. Y'all give me name. Anyhow, y'all know his man. Whoever, you know, he's quietly in the Ministry of Home Affairs advising Brock up Ben, right? Merai is the name, yeah. Audrey Brown, Merai. Stay woke. Don't think a lot of these goons and vagabonds, German cockroaches, have just disappeared, you know. They're quietly in the background there, creating havoc. Anyways, at 7:46 hours, let me remind you that we got a oldies coming up. We have a oldies dance on the 28th, 27th. Why do I keep saying the 28th? I don't know. You know, Friday, February 27th. Why am I saying Friday now? That's why I let it 28th. Thursday, starting the 27th of starting the 27th of February. Every Thursday we have oldies dance with Blue Ribbon the Boss at Club Twilight. So come on down and have a good time. We encourage you to come on down and have a good time. Right? Yeah. If you can't make it this Thursday, come next Thursday and the following Thursday and the other Thursday and so on. But we're going to have a good time with Blue Ribbon the Boss. So I'm encouraging you to come down and let's have some fun. What is?
Yes, oldies fans, Club Twilight and Blue Ribbon present Thursday Dancing Oldies. Real big people oldies from Thursday, February 27th at Club Twilight Sideline and Buxton. Yes, come on out. Let's go way back to the past. Thursday night oldies at Club Twilight Sideline and Buxton North with Blue Ribbon the Boss and the Club Twilight family. Come on down.
Who don't know? And the PNC is inviting folks to join their mash band. So if you're in the Buxton area and so on, listen out for the information as to where you can join the mash band. So you go tramp down Babylon. I call the wrong number, Mr. John. You feel like answering me today. Or what if you can't feel cash grant? At least he could give me a heads up on some market. I can go for my cash grant Thursday, so we ain't gonna do no program. Y'all know by now I ain't got no cash grant for collect, so me ain't gonna go nowhere. Mr. Jordan, morning, how you do?
Good morning, man. Good morning. Not too bad.
I got the other phone number. I wondering if you got for cash grant because you know answer.
I saw the other phone and I probably don't stop because I realized you eventually recognize that you called the wrong phone. You know all things, man.
I don't quite, man. Only in Vanessa Unit. Let me tell you something here. There's one money I ain't gonna concentrate on because I didn't even register for it. Y'all don't understand me, you know. A lot of you believe my politics is what we just say lip what? I don't me is not about the massive, you know. I talk my talk and I live my talk. Yeah, I say I'm registering for no $100,000 because I don't think the terms and conditions to register for that $100,000 are fair. And so they could keep the $100,000. Put it where the monkey put it not. Right? Not to be living without it. And I lip service. And I'm very serious. I ain't up on top. Look how good and fresh looking. Yeah, well, sometimes you honest, like I really want to pelt some stones there. Yeah. I registered it. I want it.
The board told me that you're strapped up, armed, and ready to be shipped out to the border. Is that so?
Maybe another kid that must clone me. Like, I am taking the. Yes, I'm taking the position of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali say, "I don't tell me nothing but go fight." I think it was the vets. I ain't going to. Me ain't got no problem with them. I got problem with the RIT. Right here, I gonna use my energy right here to fight y'all nonsense. Yeah, this country is such a shame. The people who call themselves in leaders. Imagine you citizens get shoot up. You military people get shoot up. Yeah, running your border in a ballahu. I see it as nothing else. In a ballahu, you defense, your military men get shoot up. And then you got the temerity to try to poke some light down the throats of Guyanese. But Venezuelan military said they arrest the people who shoot them up. Man, look, kudos to Maduro, yeah?
It was so comical. Imagine you got a serious issue, border issue with a very unfriendly neighbor. And they are going to recognize the fact that some set of people were shooting at their enemy, quote unquote enemy, from territory.
I turn in a blind eye.
And then I can tell my enemy, yes, I arrest them, and a couple of them dead. And so the thing was so comical.
I turn in a blind eye because the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's my friend. The whole thing was comical, and the range to which they run to all of these syndicatos, they don't even know if the Venezuelan military themselves who trying to assert their quote unquote right.
No, you know,
and continue to execute.
You know, Mr. Jordan, they believe Guyanese are so gullible. We are so gullible that they all they try to do is CYA. In case you didn't understand, CYA is that is all they try to do. They try to cover down their embarrassment, their shameful behavior.
And meanwhile, they seem to have no seriousness about it. You would think a leader, will be such a crisis, that a leader will find himself home, call his cabinet, and call the opposition and so on together.
Marshal the troops.
Instead, he and Barbados at some nondescript CARICOM summit that's going to be hot air and hot noise and so on. And all this money you have got, you've bought 2 or 3 helicopters since 2020 and some plane you're getting from India or something. And you have these people in one day, the hottest part of our border, running in a ballyhoo, can't get proper food, and all these things. And then, worst of all, it's a bunch of privates, you're paying them $130,000 minimum wage.
Yeah,
in the discipline services amount. We cannot be for real in this country.
You know,
we cannot be for real.
Mr. Jordan, when you mention the conditions of work, it reminds me that the PPP has always argued that the military men and women ain't deserve nothing because according to them they don't work. That is just there, you know, eating out of the treasury. And so
and that is why I wanted people to join this so-called national that Brutus said, some national diversity thing, to get them into the army and the police. You know how hurtful it looked to me when I saw that picture, and a picture tells 1,000 words. Huh? People who are being called all kinds of derogatory names and so on are out there leaving their families and their friends and their relatives and everything else out there defending all of Guyana, not African Guyanese, all of Guyana. And they have to, and their families and so on, have to be treated to that level of contempt and so on, you know. But, you know, doesn't matter, we will deal. I don't want to take up too much of my time. I want to take the opportunity, though, of recognizing my dear comrade, schoolmate, and ex foreign service, senior foreign service officer, and acted as diplomat head and so on, who will be undergoing a very major operation, heart operation today, heart surgery. I want to send best wishes and prayers of the entire school, former school classmates and so on. So Miss Marion Horbert, who will be doing some heart surgery. May it go well, and may the gods continue smiling on you, so that you will come back, convalesce well, and come back and let us have our usual ribald and jokes and so on.
Let me endorse the statement and ask viewers to keep your classmate and comrade in the prayers. Mr. Jordan, I take 2 minutes of your time. I got pause before left. This one going in favor, right? What's he saying? I should not have refused the money. I could have taken it and give it to the needy in my community. But where you're missing the point, the conditions under which the money is available are unjust. And so I will not take part in anything that is unjust, even to do something that might be just. Understand that. That's number one. And number two, you're asking if the military needs and in such a bad state, why did Mr. Jordan take away the end of year tax-free bonus? Y'all tell me, Dwayne Faber, how does the end of year tax-free bonus improve the working conditions of the military? And what should I say? Give them the adequate equipment to execute their functions. You tell me that. That's what I want to know. Until you...
I want to say in the history of the PPP, were the army people able to get a 77% increase increase in their salary in 3.5 years.
I just hear the question. Let you answer.
Listen.
Listen.
Outside of the Armstrong Award, it didn't take us any Armstrong or other award to increase salaries by 77% in 3.5 years. It didn't take any Armstrong Award or any project. It was a policy of our government that the salaries were extremely low, and those people had suffered enormously and asymmetrically as a result of the structural adjustment program. And we were in a hurry to redress that egregious situation. 77% in 3.5 years. Are you telling people about tax-free bonus? Tax-free bonus is give them permanent salary. Tax-free bonus is help them to improve their pension when they decide to leave the army at 45 years when they are privates and whatever age when they're officers. Tax-free bonus is help them then. Look, those favors, and then I think one of them was some regional chairman or something across the West. There, I had also one in my office. Also,
Look,
forget the tables. Forget them tables, man. They're a bunch of things, and you know, those are what are called vexations to the spirit. And this election year, I don't tolerate them. I usually don't tolerate them, and in this election year, it makes matters worse. If I know you don't have a policy of clipping them off, but both Paul Slow on them is just and Ben Scott on them is quickly. They probably don't go on those shows because they know they are going to be quickly excised. Their vexation is spirit and their distractions sent usually to do exactly what they do because they've already taken up 5 minutes or so over time, essentially. But I was sending sympathy there, and I don't want to make it as if it's condolences, but if it is, so be it, because it is either the death or the near death of Mashramani. I mean, it was like Christmas. You remember I was indicating that the Christmas didn't feel like Christmas anymore. The last Christmas. Now this Mashramani is turned out to be even worse. Even worse. It's spirit is, in a $1.38 $2 trillion budget, even the little dressing up of buildings are not there. And it's times like these you have to reminisce on what we old timers were able to experience. Real Mashramani from the time it was conceptualized in Linden to what it was a couple, many years ago. Those float, the highlight of it all was the float parade, and you had designers like John Fernandez and Peter Tang, Neil Chan from Solo Power, Solo Fame. A lot of people don't remember also that Neil Chan also was the head of the ETB, the External Trade Bureau, right? People like Neil Chan, Claire Gorin. I believe Claire Gorin passed sometime 2 years ago or so. David Lanny, Winfield James, I know for sure that he passed. Patrician, those were fantastic designers, you remember? And then you had the fantastic competition, Guy Mine versus Guy Stack versus Joint Services. Then you had the private sector, GT&T, originally GTC, GT&T, Banks DIH, DDL. In 1 year they had a big story between I think it was Banks DIH and DDL, I believe it was. And I think after then they pulled out of entering the Mashramani competitions and so on. Between who was the rival queens and so on. I mean, those were fantastic days. And then the Calypso competition was also of real steamed up, Mighty Rebel, Lord Canary, Mighty Duke, the Mighty Chief, Winfield James again, Big Red, Spur Wing, Hilton Hamilton. Oh my goodness, those were real class days. And don't forget, of course, the mass games and the People's Parade, and so on. I have to reminisce. I mean, people could say whatever they want. A lot of those things also happen at times when the economy wasn't doing too bright, was going through a lot of turmoil and so on. A point it's one of those I will do perhaps in another couple of weeks about the 70s and how we were able to survive and so on. Because only today I heard you talking about banning of flour and so on. And we will deal with a whole set of those. But come 1992, and you had this one Reverend Dr. Dale Bisnat, who was the Minister of Education, and he's dead now. But what he said at that time hasn't died. It has lived on, and it perhaps gave the indication of how the PPP thinks about Mashramani. Because even though these were not his exact words, he indicated that Mashramani was a black people thing. Even though those were his exact words. And gave the mindset of the PPP. And as you know, they sought to de-emphasize Mashramani to the point where they wanted to get rid of it and emphasize what they call independence. In fact, that is why independence then also became a holiday. People will remember during Bonham time, independence was a holiday, but as soon as we got Republican status, it de-emphasized independence and made Republic a holiday, Republic Day a holiday. And at that time, Independence Day was no longer a holiday. And when the PPP came in, they were going to de-emphasize Republic Day by removing the holiday and put the holiday back to Independence Day. But it's because of the likes of the Desmond Heights, the strong leadership. How you miss that kind of leadership? The strong leadership of Desmond Heights that forced them to think otherwise. When they could not get rid of the holiday to the Republic Day, but they definitely wanted Independence Day to be a holiday, they started to think about removing CARICOM Day as a holiday and some other, but all of that they were forced to redress and just decided to add Independence Day as a holiday. And not only Independence Day, they also added the Arrival Day as a holiday. So you got two extra holidays when the PPP came in post 1992, but Republic Day was saved. Mashramani was also saved because the PNC decided that they will hold their own Mashramani. And for 2 years, I think, they decided to hold their own Mashramani, and it was sheer chaos on the road. And eventually, the good sense prevailed, and they decided to upskill the Mashramani activities, and with Lennox Canterbury, God rest the dead again, so many have gone to the great beyond, and Desiree Wiles Ogle for the children's parade and so on. Mashramani became a force to reckon with all again. But in recent times, they seem to have outsourced Mashramani under a pygmy who jumps high and jumps low, right? A bunch of arrogant set of people. And they seem to have outsourced it now, and it's become something that you don't even really want to worry about. This wine and go down, dirty wine, stink and dirty, and and so people are turned off, right? And the poor designs, paint T-shirt and paint face, as opposed to real designs, 1,000 strong band in the guy stack and so on, discipline services, magnificent designs on show. These days, people put on a T-shirt, you call it the T-shirt and the big band, two big bands, running with couple girls, skimpily dressed and so on. That is not, I don't know, they say it's Trinidad. It's not Trinidad culture. If you really want to see creativity, you go to Trinidad Carnival, right? If you really want to see creativity with outlandishness, you go to Rio Carnival, and so on. But these days, even the holiday is not thing. And then, of course, I can't believe that you can have, this is Mashramani time, you can't even hear who are the singers. You can't even hear even on the week of Mashramani, you can't even hear the winning calypso, soca, and so on. Not, I mean, played consistently, but instead you hear all the different new calypsos coming out for the 2025 Trinidad Carnival and all the old calypsos and so on. You don't even have old Guyanese calypsos being played around Mashramani time. Old Guyanese soca, and there's so many Rebel, Vanilla, Dutchin, Jomo, Rubber Race. All these, even those are current ones, and much less the ones going back. But it's unfortunate. We seem to be a people without a destiny. We seem to be a people without a culture, and so on. And we seem to be, like Dave Martin said, a people of copycats. Copycats, and of course, David Hines also reminded us what Kroko said. So it's really unfortunate that the spirit of Mashramani, in the period of Mashramani, is not there. And if the Mashramani, if what I'm saying about Mashramani defines this government's level of chaos and disorganization, certainly the defining moment is with the cash grant. I don't know. I can't say because I've done no study or so on. But every time there's a chaotic situation in relation to the management and organization for cash grant, it is typical in communities that are heavily African oriented. And for the clips that I have been seeing so far in Linden, the clips in Linden, the clips in NIS when they had the confusion there, the clips in Breakdown when they had the confusion with the teachers, the clips in where was the other one? Al Boystone, and so on. I don't know. I can't say people set out to be that level of disorganized. But when I listen closely and I figure out what is happening, the level of disorganization indeed comes from the government itself. And woe beyond to us here in South Riveville. I live in the Gardens. The Gardens is a major and very large part of South, even though not as large as the park. Right? The park came after the Gardens, but the Gardens itself is also large. And they have put the distribution for I think the 26, 27, 28, and March 1st on a ground that is in a street where there's going to be no parking in that street because the street is very narrow. There'll be no parking in that street. And a number of people are going to come with cars and stay. A number of other people will be coming in cars and be dropped off and so on. So it's going to be chaotic. And with this rain that is going on, I don't know how they are going to achieve distributing those checks in those 4 days in that little ground, through that little street in Tukite Street. I used to live close to that street a couple of years ago. So I know very well the ground and I know very well the street. Where do they come up with these things? Only the good Lord knows. Only the good Lord could knows where and how they come up with these centers and how they come up with these organized or if you want to say disorganization. And in a time and in a period when they have simple systems that can be put in place. And that system would have been anyhow to pay people through the banks, pay people by the way, what has happened to the old age people? I see a number of old people, elderly people at the one in Linden and at the one in Albalstown. And they don't seem to care about them. They don't seem to care about them. And who are the winners? The touts who are out there collecting money and collecting people's ID cards so that they could jump. They don't have to go into a queue. And oh, by the way, how is it that people now, more than one at least, complaining that they went there only to find out that they have already collected their check or something in the side? Is that the case where you have to give your ID, the very ID which they have to match with the one that you presented when you registered because they took a photograph of your ID back and front? How do these things happen? And why isn't the government saying something about it? What they're saying that it's within the what you call margin of error. There ain't no margin for error here with all the different the different things that they took you know, that they took to ensure that no one person or no two persons or so on will be the same and so on. But you know, this is so much that is wrong. I don't really want to dwell too much because that's not my topic of discussion. But there's so much that is wrong in this society, and so little that is being addressed. What I want to address today, though, is that last Monday in Parliament, Mr. Bita Sarabu Hali had asked two questions of the Minister of Finance, with the Minister in the office, the President with responsibility for finance and the public service, Dr. Ashley Singh. She had asked two questions. These questions were asked a long time ago, but the only side fit to bring them up. Monday gone. The first question that she asked was, can the minister indicate the number of public servants, including those from the traditional public service, right? In the traditional public service, nurses, doctors, teachers, police officers, soldiers. That's what the question asks. Even though that is not quite right. Police and soldiers and so on were never part of any public service. So let me ask again, can the minister indicate the number of public servants, including those from the traditional public service, open bracket, nurses, doctors, teachers, police officers, soldiers, that were resigned from the public service since August 2020 to November 2024? So that was the question asked. And in that question, there was one error in that question. That is referred, as we well know when we grew up in English, that referred to inanimate objects or subjects. But when you are referring to human beings, you talk about who or whom. But this here that have resigned from the public service since August 2020 to November 2024. And the minister answered, here is number, 2,832 people had resigned between August 2020 and November 2024 in 4 years from the traditional public service. But he made it very clear that he excluded teachers who are not part of the public service and members of the discipline services. And he also excluded people from the constitutional agencies who may be part of the public service, but because of their independence and autonomy and the way how their budgets are budgeted, he claimed he did not get the numbers. But that part with the exclusion of the constitutional agencies and why he did not get the numbers is absolutely not true. Because constitutional agencies, notwithstanding their independence and their autonomy, by the way, it's only their budgets have that status of independence and autonomy, and their subsequent implementation of their budget that have that status of autonomy and independence. But somebody has to be responsible for them in the parliament, which right now is the Minister of Governance. But in the submission of their budgets to the Ministry of Finance for consideration, they have to submit their budget exactly in the same format as any ordinary ministry or region or department. So they don't submit their budgets in a different manner. They have to use the same forms, same everything, provide the same explanations and so on. And those forms, they would have had to indicate how many personnel are on the regular scale, how many are contracted, and how many are of a temporary nature. So that information is available. When I heard it, I said to myself, I shake my head because there was no follow-up questioning of it. But that information is available, but it was not apparently sourced and it was not provided in the answer. This 2,832 people who he claimed resigned in the 4 years or thereabout between August 2020 and August 2024 only concerned the so-called civil service, the years ago civil service, right? Those who worked in ministries, departments, and regions. And for those who remember, my good friend who I know is on this live, departments were like the Inland Revenue Department, the Customs and Excise Department, the Audit Department, the Accountant General's Department, the Lands and Surveys Department. Those were what were deemed to be departments. And those were in the civil service at the time. And then the public service came, replaced the civil service because the civil service was deemed to be colonial. And then you had the public service. And the public service now included what we call the regions, right? When the regional system came into being, right? I think the regional system came in, if my memory serves me well, somewhere around, or the present regional system as we know it came in around, I think, 1982 or thereabout. I may be wrong, but if my memory serves me well, it's around 1982. And so you have now what you call the regions, the 10 regions, right? And those people within those regions, with the exception of the regional chairman and the regional executive officer, who are not public servants. A lot of people don't know that. The regional chairman and the regional executive officers are not public servants. They are, in a sense, political officers, one elected and one non-elected. The regional chairman is an elected officer, right? Elected during the national elections. And the regional executive officer is a political non-elected officer who's normally appointed by the president. But the highest ranking civil servant in the region is the DREO, the Deputy Regional Executive Officer, who is supposed to be appointed by the Public Service Commission. But all that might have changed subsequently, right? All that might have been changed subsequently, just like how the deputy permanent secretaries and all them now are being appointed outside of the remit of the Public Service Commission. But we'll come back to that time. So these 2,832 people who were claimed to have resigned are only in respect of those who were in the ministries, departments, regions. They do not include teachers, nurses in the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, because nurses and doctors and whoever else and all personnel within the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation are not public servants. They may be public officers, but not public servants. Why? Because they come under a different rubric. And a public servant is defined in the Constitution. And it relates to one who comes under the rubric of the Public Service Commission. Those who work at the Georgetown Public Hospital do not come under the rubric anymore of the Public Service Commission. They come under the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, a board appointed by the government is what runs the Georgetown Public Hospital. However, nurses and other health personnel who work at the Ministry of Health and its associated arms and agencies, and who work in the regional system, those are considered to be public servants because they still come under the rubric of the Public Service Commission and the Public Service Ministry. So, this 2,832 do not include teachers, nurses from Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, and members of the discipline services who are army officers, police, fire, and prisons. Those are people who are described as discipline services. So this 2,832 don't include those people. These 2,832 people do not include all those who are in statutory agencies. And statutory agencies are like the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Ghana Lands and Surveys Commission, the EPA, right? And so on. Those are statutory agencies. They exist within their own law, right? There's a law for those each one of those agencies. And this number does not include people who are in non-statutory agencies that can be considered to be allied agencies. In other words, that they exist, but they don't have a law. They exist by other fiat, whether it be cabinet fiat, where a cabinet decision would have set up the agency, and so on. So they exist by cabinet fiat. And this number does not include people who would have resigned from government agencies like the public corporations, like GEC and GPL, and so on. The reason why I'm referencing this is because, and I will come back to it shortly, large numbers of these people who would have resigned, in fact, the bulk of these people who would have resigned would have been people of African descent. So I'm moving from the narrow definition of the public servant as enshrined in the Constitution to the wider public officers. She could not ask for public officers because the minister's remit is only for the public service. And he correctly answered for the public service. But if you were to broaden, because I know where she was going with this question, even if we stayed without broadening this whole public service, without broadening it, 2,832 people from the public service. Now, the public service, as narrowly defined here, would only have about, I don't know, probably 7,000 people, 8,000 people. And for 2,832 of them resigning over a 4-year period. And this is just resigned, by the way. This is not those who were fired post-2020. As you well know, a large number of people of African descent were fired from the traditional and non-traditional public service. You all remember the fiasco at GWI, the Guyana Water Inc., and so on? Although it was not reminiscent of what happened post-1992, there was large-scale firing of persons, mostly of African descent, from the wider public service post-August 2020. So this 2,832 figure, as much as it might be correct in relation to the narrowly defined public service, is still an extremely large figure relative to the numbers of people who might be employed in the traditional public service. Right? The traditional public service, that narrowly defined ministries, departments, and regions, but not including the statutory agencies, non-statutory agencies, the discipline services, the teachers, and the nurses employed at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. 2,832 resigned. That is an attrition rate by resignation extremely high. And you have to ask yourself, why? But we don't have the time today to do that. The whys, maybe it will prick the conscience and the memory and whatever else of others to figure out what on earth is going on here. Because when they talk about creating 60,000 jobs for which they cannot delineate in what sectors, what areas, of what capacity, temporary or permanent, of what categories, what skill set, they cannot do that. They throw out these numbers, 60,000 here, 200 taxes there, 500 taxes, they throw out these numbers. But when you ask for the breakdown and the composition of them, they go silent. So this 60,000 jobs they claim they created, there aren't no jobs. If at all the 60,000 numbers to be believed, there aren't no jobs. In many cases, there are replacements. They come in, they force people to resign, because you could force people to resign by conditions alone. The conditions get onerous and so on. People decide, I can't take this, I go on. And I heard in a number of cases where people not necessarily of African descent who decided they could not take the new leadership in the particular ministry, and they decide that they're gone, and so on. But those were, I can attest, perhaps in the minority. The large numbers of these people were people of African descent. So when you see the poverty, when you see the poverty that permeates largely African Chinese community, you know where it came from. Because, as we will show shortly, it is still the case where African Guyanese dominate in the wider public sector. It's still that case. But their dominance now, as I said, is diminishing, number one. And they are only now dominating in the middle to lower categories. So when it comes to income, going into the communities, going into the homes and so on, you have issues there. You have a number of issues there. So those are some of the things on that question one that I wanted to bring out. It is question two that I want to zero in on today, that was asked by the Honorable Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarbu Hali. And the question she asked was, can the minister inform the House of the number of public servants currently employed on contract as of November 2024 outside the remit of the Public Service Commission? And the minister responded a long, winding response that was buffeted, that was complemented with a number of irrelevancies and so on. But when I stripped it away, this is what essentially I got out of his response. One, that 8,173 individuals were employed on contract as of December 2024. Okay? And these 8,173 individuals apparently, again, was only from the traditional public service as I defined just now. All right? So again, it will exclude people in the GPHC and the teachers and the discipline services and so on, and the constitutional agencies and so on. He claimed that public servants have the freedom to choose a gratuity or a lump sum payment upon retirement, unlike under the previous APNU plus AFC administration. Well, that one, all these, we are going to examine all these claims. He criticized the APNU plus AFC government for imposing pensionable establishment on the hard-working public service. And another outlandish claim was that there was no difference between the emoluments of a contract worker and a PSC appointed worker. So those are what I could have distilled from what he said in that long rambling response to a question that was as straightforward as you can get them. But you know, you can't fault the guy, you know. He's a bright chap. He got a lot of book sense. But here's the question. Or here's what I put together. What is book sense without common sense, if not nonsense? Yeah? What is book sense without common sense, if not nonsense? As far back as Jagan in 1963, in his early government up to 1964 when you had the elections, Jagan was always being credited with saying that he's in power. No, he's in office, but not in power. Suggesting that while he win elections and while he's in government and so on, his party or his people did, or he was not able to control the people that work with him, particularly those in the then civil service. In other words, then, the people he inherited, and he didn't have the opportunity to change them in his image. As you well know, we inherited a British type civil service, one in which the civil service was deemed to be permanent and impartial. In other words, then, it survived administrations, right? It existed to serve the government of the day. To serve, not to become a slave of, to serve. It was expected to be impartial and conduct civil service duties, not political duties. And those steeped in history will know the attempts made by Jagan to change that outlook of the public service, with little effect, by the way. At one time, as I read, he wanted to change some permanent secretary in somewhere and couldn't get through because all those were controlled by the Public Service Commission. And unlike the way how the Public Service Commission is appointed these days, that's full of politics and everything else, those days, the Public Service Commission operated on a strict, impartial, independent, professional approach. You look at those who now occupy, or many of those who occupy the Public Service Commission, and their background alone would indicate the political preferences and so on. Not so in back in the 60s and so on. So we inherited a reasonably decent structure in the civil service and so on. Yes, the civil service was there to service the British colonials and so on, but the systems and so on that they handed over to us at independence had a history, right? And it worked. Post-independence, of course, again, there was tinkering of the public service, because now it became the public service. Its name changed from the civil service. Now it became the public service, and there was a lot of tinkering of the public of the public service. Where before, for example, a prominent secretary would have been appointed by the Public Service Commission, and all the officers, as a matter of fact, for the public service were appointed by the Public Service Commission. Then you had changes I believe in the 1980 Constitution, where the appointment of the permanent secretary was now the purview of the president. And as you can see now, all these permanent secretaries now serve at the pleasure of the existing president. Now, when you do that, there's no security of tenure anymore. There's no security of tenure. You're operating now on contract. That with a month's notice, you can be gone. Whereas it was not that easy to get rid of a permanent secretary if they were appointed under the Public Service Commission. So the tampering of the public service that started in the Jagan era or the whole attempt to remake the public service in the image of the existing administration that started under the dragon with little effect, was ratcheted up post-independence, where permanent secretaries now were appointed by the president in the image of the existing administration. As Guyana, so I'm moving rapidly on this. I'm not going to give you any whole history of the public service. That's for another time and for another set of people. But as Guyana ran into trouble in the 1970s with the oil crisis and whatnot, and our ability to pay decent salaries diminished, a number of people, and as the then government's heavy hand in all aspects of the economy took charge, right? You had a lot of nationalization occurring. The whole public sector was expanded to about 80% of the economy, so that the existing administration controlled most of the economy. And if you're controlling most of the economy, you're also controlling most of the lives of those who work within that. But as Guyana ran into trouble in the 1970s, and its inability to earn as much because of the oil crisis and so on, and its inability to import as much for factories and fields and so on to produce, the economy began its slide, right? And as we well know, I don't have to repeat again what took place, all the bannings and the restrictions and whatnot, and so the economy began to falter. The public services well, first of all, on the one hand, public service began to lose a large number of its brain trust, right? Top quality permanent secretaries, top quality general managers, top quality, whoever else, officers, human resource managers, and so on, began to lose those people. A lot of people, when they began to lose those, these were people who decided, well, look, I can't stick around anymore. I know I can resign. I'm gone. My pension, I know I lose my pension or whatever the case, or I know I have to wait a while to collect the pension because I think you have to work a minimum of 10 years. And so the long and short is that the public service suffered greatly. And on the other hand, the public service lost its ability to attract new personnel, right? Because of any number of political, social, economic. It lost that. So in a sense, by 1982, forced to adjust, forced to do some form of adjustment, we heard this word about redeployment. And an estimated 12,000 people were redeployed in 1982, I think it was. An estimated 12,000 people in the regular public service were redeployed. And that had any number of connotation, either forced to resign, either dismissed, or sent to other positions other than the one that they had. Many of them were redeployed to the regions, right? The regional system was now starting up. And so a number of them were sent to the regions. Now, a number of them could not go into the region, because if you come from Joshua, you sending me to Region 8 as part of redeployment. How the hell I reach in there and how I survive? So a number of people then, in a sense, were forced to resign, right? Because they couldn't go there. But so 12,000, those people were redeployed. I don't know how many actually took up the new appointments, but I think a fair number would have left somehow for any number of activities, include joining a budding black market that had started to grow. So between 1982 and 1992, the public service found itself in all manner of trouble. And as I said, an inability to attract new and quality staff. So the public service actually attracted whatever it could have attracted. To get in the public service back in those days, you had to have a minimum of 5 GCE O levels at one sitting, or 6 at 2 sittings O levels. And because of the inability to attract those kinds of people, the public service decided to take, if you want to say anything. So people with less than 5 and people with nothing, even 5 or nothing, ended up being in the public service. A large number of them on open vote, what is called open vote, non-pensionable open vote. And that is how, in a nutshell, right? In a nutshell, that the public service was able to survive with a fairly large number of people who were unqualified to be in the public service, who were put on this open vote block, and who didn't have a pension to get if they survived to 55. But I think pathways were created for them to go to Critchlow, go to GTI, go to all the different places to rewrite GCO levels and so on, and to eventually get the qualification to become permanent members and to be put on the regular establishment. Of course, again, as I said, the public service and the wider public service now, or that will include the teachers and the policemen and all these kinds of things, was the domain of largely African Guyanese. It was populated by African Guyanese. Guyanese of Indian descent didn't see the public service as being attractive for any number of reasons. One of which, of course, was that the emoluments was not there. The work was not of their kind, and so on. And perhaps generally because of the dominance of the Africans, Indians didn't see it attractive to be going there and being the odd person out and so on. Any number of reasons, but basically those. So Indians, of course, agriculture, industry, commerce, and so on, they predominated in those areas. Come 1992, and the PPPC government of Chedi Jagan back in power. And one of the first things, as you remember that you remember I said to you, Jagan tried to control the public service way back when he was in government from 57 to 64, 55 maybe to 64. When he was in power, he tried to control the public service and wasn't successful. He also always had suspicions about the public sector because, of course, it's largely African dominated, and he figured that perhaps their political leanings was to the opposite side, the PNC UF in those days, and so on. So there was no trust. There was no trust for the public service, and then, of course, the 80-day strike. The 80-day strike of the 63-64 period, he would perhaps also blame the public service for that. So when he comes in 1992, you meet a heavily dominated, African-dominated public service, and he meets a heavily dominated army, police, prison, fire, teaching service, and so on, heavily dominated Africa. And he wasn't about to allow this in office and not in power scenario to take place. So everybody knows, for example, the famous Rohi running around all over the world and degutting those embassies of anybody's name that sounded as if it were of African, I can't say origin because African origin names are not Smith and Wesson and so on. Our African dominated names are like Ola Tumba Afumi, and so on. But anyhow, any name that sounded like Smith and Wesson and so on, gone. This is that joke. This is true story. It happened in 1992. And Roy was the hatchet man for the Foreign Service. Famous story of my good friend in the Consul General's office in New York, Miss Singh, who was the wife of David Singh. Y'all remember David Singh? David Singh and Hammy Green were taken to the ombudsman. He was gardening Gillette, and that in those days, ombudsman gardening Gillette over issues. And I think Hammy was found not guilty, but David was found guilty. David was a minister. And I think he either resigned as a minister or Forbes asked him to leave, one of the two. But he was subsequently appointed ambassador to China. David Singh, Ambassador David Singh. His wife worked in the Consul General's office. I think she was the Deputy Consul General to Fitzdarwey. Fitzdarwey was the Consul General at that time. And so when Rory was passing through and so on and asked for the list, allegedly, names were ticked off who had to go. But her name was left there. Miss Singh. And I am telling you this story because she told me I was traveling back with her to Guyana on one of those flights, a Guyana Airways Corporation flight. I was traveling back from New York with her, and she told me this story. So this is not secondhand or third. And she told me when he returned from his trip from Washington D.C., where he went to do the similar story. There was an alleged conversation with Darwin. Darwin showed him the list allegedly and said that is missing out there, and she had to go too. I mean, that might become now folklore, but that was the reality. They came in and they gutted the head office of the foreign ministry and all the embassies. They gutted them of any African sovereignty. And as for the rest of the agencies, there were many attempts. Remember these people were appointed by PSC, the public sector, and therefore you can't go there now and say, hey, I don't like you, go. They couldn't do that. So you know what they did? And this is the origin of the contracts as we know it. It's not to say that they weren't contracted officers in the public service. It was a rarity though, and it was based on exactly what a contract is supposed to be. Short term for a specific purpose because you have a specific skill, which we need and we don't have in the public service. They had those odds and ends around the place. But contracting as we know it today started in 1992 when the PPP government, unable to get rid of the PSC appointed
looking cute, see? Y'all morning! Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 38 on the 21st day of February in the year 2025. How are you doing? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly so that I can proceed to give you what you need. Can you hear me and can you hear me clearly? Morning. Yes, I verified for myself. Sorry, I will my answers. All right. Mark Fraser, big up yourself. Welcome to the program, man. Oh, yeah, been. How was yesterday? Oh, Lord, oh, money there for knock that. It's left, right, and center people collecting cash grant. Me I don't for collect. Y'all start sending me. Oh, y'all got paid tax. Well, I do this morning collecting tax. Come on, y'all start showing some commitment to Camps TV and the Guyanese morning time. It's been a while since y'all donate, contribute, give anything to this program. Y'all getting mean, you know, or things tight. Which one? Oh, I believe things tight. It will the players do things tight all over the place. Tight, tight, tight. When we were growing up, they used to say, some men, women used to report to them as, the man feels tight like Capo BT. Right? Y'all remember that? They say, regardless of how vehicles crush Capo, nothing in coming through the BT is through the mouth. Right? So when you hear you talking about somebody are tight, that is the description we used to use as youngsters. I'm sure some of you used it, right? And a lot of people, you know, like I mentioned the BT word, a lot of people are of the opinion that BT is such a ghost terminology. You know, we Guyanese and Caribbean people especially like to, hey, Jingy, what going on? We like to shorten everything, abbreviate everything. So BT is just a short for buttock, I would think, right? BT is a short for buttock, right? Or buttocks, because there's a pair of them. At least I think I know of all the things I know, I can't say I know human with the physiology or biology, which one, but yeah, don't worry me. Box and bag side I come from, I smart enough. I smart to know when things ain't going right. Right? You see, Audrey Brown knows what I'm talking about. Audrey, you've had experience with some of those, no? They're like those sports women for be independent. Because you realize you ain't going to forget it, but you got to move on, you got to go and look work. Right? Flash go out to say, Bamsi, yes, 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 Bamsi. All right. So I don't know why they're taking offense when we talk about certain things. You know. In the African tradition, we always find what I would say shortened versions of what we want to see. Right? Mark said put up the cash information. That's some encouragement. Usually people don't ask me, but I'm putting it up, Mark. Lead them by example. Yeah, for some reason or other, I don't know what do y'all, you know, but nobody don't contribute to this program. In recent times, people have not been contributing to the program. They're the faithful few. They are the faithful few. So let me not cast a wide net and say people. They are the faithful few, and I really appreciate the efforts of those faithful few. And when I say few, the few, it comes them on one hand, right? So y'all need to do better. Y'all need to do better. We're going down to an election season. Y'all gonna want to see me do this and do that and go here and go there and so on. How do you think these things are achieved? They need resources and things like so. Unless you provide resources, y'all don't demand too much from me. Too much is given, much is expected, and so to whom little is given. Well, I don't. To whom little is given, little should be expected. But I'm committed to this cause, and so regardless of how much you give, I will always do my best. But that doesn't mean you should take it for granted and don't give. So yeah, start putting some money in the cash app. We got Zelle, we got MMG. If you know anything about those things and you want to send me a contribution via the money transfer agencies, somebody that might get, you know. You can hit me up and I'll provide that information. Sometimes when I take time out to go see who is at my gate and so on, you have to understand, please and thank you. I beg for your indulgence because sometimes it's a source of income. I tell y'all, when I'm on this program in the morning, usually, as soon as I get off this program, I got so many things I usually attend to in terms of earning an income for my upkeep, right? So I don't want people to get the impression that Mr. Sam just come on this program and beg for money to live. No, 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 no. Those who share this space with me ever so often, those who come into this space ever so often, can attest to what I do or some of the things they see me doing in order to provide for myself and family. And sometimes I get so upset because you're trying to do things to provide for you and your family and so on, and at the same time you're trying to provide a service to your community and so on and so forth. And some people abuse that. I'll tell you a story this morning. I got a building at the back of my yard. That's the original building. When I bought this property here, that cottage was in front. And those of you who grew up in countryside know that the tradesmen, they are so skilled at what they do that they can move a property from the front of your yard and carry it to the back. They can move it from one location and carry it to another by using something we call blocking up and jack. And so I had them guys shifted the building from in front down to the back of the yard. It didn't go to the exact location where I wanted it because the rains came and so it was left there. Nevertheless, I make do with it as it is. And so I fix it up nice and thing, I raise it up and I fix it up and so on. And I had a part of my school in there as construction was happening in front and so on and thing. And then as we completed the front building, my school came to the front and, a good friend, well, not a good friend, somebody that I know well in the community and thing, and you had respect for and so on, came and said, well, in this difficult situation, you're looking for a house and thing, and even if it's in the best position, you really need something. At the end of the day, I had to lock the man out my yard. The man run up a rental bill of over $200,000, and every day is another excuse. So. I said, Bonnie, you gotta go, I can't do this because I'm investing, I'm spending, and you want basically live off of me strength like that. You ain't paying nothing, you ain't giving no rent. And this man was doing the kind of thing that brings money. Them fridge technician and so, AC and air conditioning technician. That man let's make money, and this man didn't pay me back. And so I said, listen, you gotta go. And I made a determination since then. I say, I'm not going to do long-term rental with anybody. I ain't able for nobody to stress me out. That's how I am. Any problem, anything else stress me out, I just put aside. Those who know me know me. So that is how I started doing the Airbnb at the back. I say, listen, I'm going to do short-term. If somebody want to come spend a night, 2 weeks, and so on and so forth, I'm going to do short-term and so on. And even the short-term people stressing you out. I'm going to come on my place over the Christmas holiday, run up a bill there, and the man ain't pay me. I tried not going to call the name, I don't want to go down that road, so I know you're listening or some relative of his might be listening. Yeah, tell the man send me money. It's over $300 the man owe me. Yeah, right? Sometimes my kindness of heart is I want to say an undoing, but I ain't gonna let nobody change my love for humanity. I can't see a brother come and say, well, man, listen, I come for holiday, I want use the place as the Airbnb. This is a party money. I expect the rest 2 days, 3 days, and you're gonna get. I left you on the road. I don't think it's a humane thing to do, but I expect people to also have that humanity in them and love and honor their responsibilities. Right? Y'all gotta do better, man. Y'all have to do better. I mean, I don't get into the habit of cussing our people and so on and say you're a little lackadaisical and slack sometimes and so on. I try to encourage, but sometimes it becomes overbearing. Since December, this man can't pay me money. and
And the awful thing is, when you decide to pay, it's the same, it's the exact money you're sending you. And that's the other thing, if you ever decide to pay. Now I got things to do. I have to continue to improve that space so those people who want to come for vacation, who are looking for a nice, village kind of experience, and will come at lose the Airbnb and relax and so on and so forth. But when them money is sold up on your little pickings, which sometimes is the only source, you can't get to do improvements. Listen, y'all gotta do better, man. Y'all really gotta do better. And I should, well, somebody should be listening who is related to this chapter. Y'all talk to the man, man. Y'all do better. Y'all gotta do better. I want to call his name. I'm not that kind of person. But I'm angry this morning. I was about to use the P word. I'm going to do that. Right? So we gotta do better. And the other thing, as I'm talking this morning, it's Free Talk Friday, right? So y'all can call the line whenever you want, because I'm sharing experiences so that people can understand. I learn from the experiences. Usually when I talk on things, they're not necessarily complaints, but I'm highlighting some of the issues we have to deal with as a people. And we can fix that. Right? Because these very people they'll go at other people's place and you can give them the stress, And pay them, like Flash is saying, they're going to go at the carnivals and they're going to go at the this and the that and the big fancy hotel and so on and so forth. And pay a jewel and a crown. And not even be able as, because when you come here, you're like family. If I put starfish for you, right? Yeah, we gotta do better. Carry on. Call you on.
Morning, Mr. Kodaki.
Morning to you, sir.
Morning, Guyana. Morning at the world at large. Look, when I watch the situation in this country, like the African people in this country being bewitched by something, knowing that we African people in this country have all power we need, and we get forced scrolling and running our battery in this country. When we can take what we want, we even don't have to actually work and take what we want, but only because of protocol. But we are not doing that. We get these people doing all sorts of madness in this country, doing all sorts of foolishness for black people, and we are silent. They're hitting us on the head, they're hitting us on the gut, and now they're coming for the seed. Well, I know when they come for the seed, hell will break loose. And that seed is GCOM. But we need, the African society needs proper strategies and thinkers. Look, we have a monopoly. The businessmen, they get a monopoly in this country, where they control the whole system. When the African people go, the African go to buy from these people, they give them a price that they can't compete. Sometimes when you go to the shop or supermarket owned by African people, and you understand these big businessmen supermarkets selling so cheap. Sometimes you got back off on the black market and go to those people. The price is so far apart. I don't know. We gotta come up with things. We gotta strategize and come up with things, buy our own shit and bring in our own goods to sell. And I know they get a couple African people have ship in this country. But they're not studying. All they study is money. Black African people, they study money, they're concerned about the people. We got to concern about our people in this country. We are concerned about the people. I'll take people. If you stand up, and a man, a different man, a Chinese man, an Indian man, a white man, beating up your brother, you will stand up there. and then you say nothing, and you're longer to act. We gotta start thinking our people, our condition, look our condition. Anyhow, we gotta get strategization with thinkers because we can do it in a time of slavery when we pool our resources and buy ship and buy what we want. We only gotta sound the alarm and really just Adga, the African youth. Just come up with a system where we can donate money for buying our own ship.
Caller.
That we can bring our own thing.
Caller.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to be negative. Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
But with a government like the PPP, do you believe that just being able to buy a ship and acquiring the merchandise would alleviate the problems African Guyanese face in this place in terms of business? Let me I said it earlier in this week on my program, and let me repeat it for you. The African Guyanese man and woman struggles the way they struggle to grow business and to keep business afloat and to really succeed in business because of the policies of the government. Because while there are certain people aligned to the government or looking like the majority of the government, while they will get concessions under the table and be allowed to bypass this and bypass that, the African man and woman will have to go through the needle of an eye. You understand what I'm saying? And while you're going through the needle of an eye, your operating costs and acquisition costs and everything is going up. And so you become uncompetitive price-wise. And that is where we are getting our licks. Early in the week, I explained that a place like Buxton, without a proper marketplace where people can take their merchandise, knowing that they have a store there that they can open in the morning and lock up in the night, with the merchandise being safe. Okay? The people who do business in places like Buxton have so much more disadvantage because you ain't got such a place, and you got to pay every day to bring out your goods and every day to carry back your goods. It means every day you are increasing your operating costs on that one item which was not sold. And so your price is going to be 2 times, 3 times, sometimes time and a half higher than communities like Mondrepo and Lusignan, where they got market with stores where they can bring out the thing or bring it in one time and lock it up until it is sold. You follow what I'm saying? So I love the idea. I always believe that we African Guyanese, we have to pool our resources, the wheelbarrow principle, and we have to build malls in Buxton and malls in BV and so on and so forth, even as a community effort. But I also acknowledge at the same time that we must think ahead and start to think about how we're going to get in past the wickedness of the PPP government. Because they're going to do the things to ensure or make it difficult for us to succeed. Because when we succeed in African Guyanese villages, it means that the businesses that we support in Indo-Guyanese business villages will also be losing our business. Remember, when the PNC proposed to the PPP that more investment should be made in agriculture in Linden, they resisted and said Linden is not for agriculture. Agriculture thriving in Blackbush Polder and agriculture thriving in Hubu Bagdam and so on. And that's where they will put money. Who dominate those areas in terms of agriculture? So they want agriculture, they want production happening in Linden and other African Guyanese communities. They want their people to continue to dominate the agricultural industry. I rest. Continue.
Well, let me say, this election coming up, if you win the election again, what alternative the African people get? You got to talk about separation. Let them live by yourself or we live by yourself. You got to start talking that kind of language, separate from them, either economically or physically. and let them understand the seriousness of the African.
But boycott is a form of economic separation, and so I personally agree with you that we Africans have to understand that we got to find ways and means of spending our monies in our communities and allowing it to circulate in our communities to the growth of our communities. It's a challenge. It is a challenge, but sometimes you really got, as I say, lick ass to kick ass. You got to go through the tough time. Find gold or find jewelry, there's got to go through a smelting process. You just melt down gold. I see gold melt to red hot liquid before it became fine jewelry. And so we got to understand that those are the sacrifices that we will have to make.
Yeah, but every one prayer, but our black people don't have blood. Before the 15th century, all the gods were black. And right now, prayer, washing a black, Krishna black, Buddha black. And they get a deity named Ram. Well, they said I want a black man carry Ram wife Sita to Lanka. They had to go to a black man named Hanuman to go and bring back Sita to them God. And that's why they don't like when a black man talks to the Indian. So I want you to know that all the God she watching in a black guy. Krishna is a black guy. Buddha is a black guy. Hanuman is a black guy. And that's what affects the pastors in this country, these who hang up a white Jesus in the church. When you see white people and see their God. I don't know if the amount of information they would know. This is the information age. They know that Jesus is a white man. Yeshua was a black man. And Yeshua what they're supposed to worship. They would never achieve in the alphabet till after the 15th century. When Constantine and these 318 archbishops of the Catholic Church create Jesus, white Jesus. I don't know where they get the history from. And it continues to destroy the children, and you know, white Jesus, destroy the small children from small. He had rejection of that foolishness. Thank you, Mr. Kazak.
Thank you. As we stand there, anyway, let me not go there. I'm gonna 62593 choose the number to call. I see somebody named Bevan King or something like that. I think perhaps poking fun at me. Neither and I laugh out loud. I have a needle. Yeah, we sometimes we invert things. In a country you might type 624 when you intended to type 426. It's called an error of commission. It's an error. Right? So me saying neither and I, at least those who are learned will understand that I really needed to say eye of a needle. And the fact that I can reference needle of an eye indicates that I darn well know it is eye of a needle. So I know Dunce, Bevan and King, so I know what you're talking about. But you're attacking my racial ugly face. Chap, I am so proud of this face. And a lot of other people are proud of this face and like this face. And I would advise you, if you really want to always sit and talk with your female relatives, call up your life.
Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. ERC week for Flat Garden. Are you still there?
Yes, Flash.
Okay, good.
Flash, wait. Since you're going to address the ERC, let me caution you, and this is in jest. Let me caution you, this is in jest because I've been accused by the ERC of making racially biased statements, making xenophobic statements, making ethnically and religiously prejudiced statements, making disparaging remarks about the Chinese nationals, racial stereotyping, and criminality and unethical accusations regarding success of Indian business owners. Not to mention that they say I am racially divisive in my statements. You hear me? That is 7 charges 7 charges the ERC got for me. So continue. Go right ahead. Don't be naughty.
Anyway, see what's this. To ERC this morning, where were you for do investigation when it is alleged that the PPP government and what the plan was involved in killing that innocent Holy Minister? Where were you for investigate that? That is more serious. 1. 2. Where were you, ERC, when I put your smile in
a sitting prime minister's drink.
where were ERC for investigate? Don't tell Flash God smile. You take over those people tablets and you don't remember. I don't know. Last one, where were you, ERC? When the same prime minister who was interviewed by a white man, I don't know what confirmation from America, when the same black minister said, we know that Washington was doing jobs, but we don't have no evidence that God will fall. Nonsense. Stop telling black people nonsense. Because if you use the word English language that we know, what more evidence you're looking for? But you see, you could not touch the untouchable. ERC could not touch the untouchable to investigate on the prime minister. It is time for black people to go back into the word of God and demonstrate the word of God. Let me remind you guys about the word of God. When the devil challenged God, said, hey, if you remove the edge around Job, Job will curse you and die. God knows who Job, a man of God, who will represent God anytime, punishment or whatever. What we say, it is time for black people in Guyana represent, be the edge for our two leaders, Mr. Abinatu and Dr. David Hines. Be the edge. Because those two brothers fight for you guys from since in the early 70s up to now and never leave their party. Never leave their party. They fight, they stay in sun and rain. You know, something come to me. The last call on me, I said, no, always let back something for God bless you with. You know, Mr. David, Hines' mother was begging me, they said, my son, give it up, man, you're old, you've done that. Oh, my son, I don't want to see you die. So Mr. David said, no, we gotta continue to fight. What we stand for, what we believe in. My black brothers and sisters must be free in that country because our ancestors make all of us free. You the man, I'm sure those words must come out from David Hines' mother mouth towards him. And he said, he was playing. If we got to die fighting, I will die fighting. Just fight for God, you will die. Talking. It's time for you to represent and to leader. What God gave us? Moses and Joshua. Abinatu is Moses and David Hines is Joshua. Mr. David Hines time coming. Don't make it, don't fight for no leader now. Because you know it's time coming. What I said, I still don't keep a white head. No, I want to talk about my little black sister, girl, if I may. Yes, it is wrong what a wicked guy did. But there's a big but in it. And I don't like it because I get children. It could happen to my son or my little daughter. What Simon Bloom did, and that the man exposed that little girl was totally wrong. Y'all open up the little girl wound more wide and more deep. Y'all didn't remember the little girl had to go back to school and face torment and words and fatigue. Don't care if you go to a next school And you put that little girl place outside there. You guys didn't know doctor, no judge and lawyer for that nonsense. Let the police officer them deal with that. And the thing will get people are getting mad. It's when Simon Bungo asked that little girl, did you have sex? Yes. How many times? 3 times. How Simon Bungo? Why you done that? Why you done it to the little girl? Why? You should have asked that question in your own like that. But you take something to the situation. And if the mother takes more than involved, the mother is to blame too. And then the father should let that young man know what it is. Both of you would not do it to your daughter, to your niece or whatever. Me would never do it. It's me talking every quarter of them own car. Are you done with that little girl diplomatic way? And you say to well with that garden. Mr. Amsterdam represent you. When we are about to drop the bombshell about your son, but no, there, no flash. Don't talk about what Mr. Amsterdam, not our son, not on this programming. And God showed Mr. Amsterdam what she did to a young girl, a little 12-year-old girl. You tell me that girl, that stand with left on the girl. Because what we're going to talk, that it is alleged that your son, Peter.
But Flash, if I tell you don't talk it, how you going to talk it again this morning and say what you were going to talk? Wait, my Alice question me back down say the education. The other morning a man called and said, Mr. Absalom, I you don't like to call people dog, but if I have to report to Bunda when I call you dog, what you think, man? Wait. Flash, have a good day. Not because you're there, it's coming, and I just start and you and think, my friends will call me an English police. I understand the English language very well. And so you have to stop trying to circumvent my rules and instructions and guidance and so on by telling me if I could do that, I would do that, and so on. You have to stop this nonsense. I ain't stupid. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir, I was saying. I don't totally, I agree with the sentiments of Flashcard. And those of us, you see, that's the thing. A lot of people get on the air and they talk and they think. But it's not everybody who will be before a camera or got access to a platform understand the tenets of journalism. You don't publish the name of a minor. You don't publish the photograph of a minor. And that is why I will always tell you in all of the outreaches and so on I do, don't expect me to show you any photograph of me, for example, giving meals to the children at a particular primary school. Don't even expect me to name the primary school. That is all. Because I understand. I've been so trained. But a lot of our people, a lot of our social media, quote unquote, influencers and so on, don't necessarily have that training, and some of them don't necessarily exhibit wisdom. Over exuberance. The Jamaican singer say, me do it for the like, me not do it for the love, or me do it for the love, me not do it for the like. A lot of people, when they address certain issues, they address it in a way that will bring attention to themselves and bring likes. That is not the way it should be dealt with. It shouldn't be dealt with like that. It should be dealt with in a manner that will educate and illuminate, bring light to the situation. And so I respect Simona Boom some other groups for all of her activism and so on. But she lapsed on that one. She lapsed on all of that interrogation that was going on in the program wasn't necessary. And I can speak because I actually listened to it. It wasn't necessary. Let the police and the counselors and the social service let them do that kind of interrogation. Put pressure on them through your program. But you don't necessarily have to have the child involved in these quote-unquote intimate ways on the program to get the message across. And so, yes, sometimes that which is meant for good turns out to do further damage. And I think in this situation, a lot of that has happened. I see Vinya Prasad, she suddenly awoke. And she made a statement, I think last evening or sometime, against publishing of, that kind of information of victims and so on and so forth. Hooray! But where is Vinya Prasad? Or where was Vinya Prasad when all of the violations are taking place against our children, even by people within our political space? You're not hearing her on that. But Simona gave her an opportunity to lash out, and that she did. Good. We gotta do better. That's all I will say. We gotta do better. We gotta do better. And like Flash said, sometimes we just have to. Sometimes we ain't gotta get no training, We just have to put ourselves in the position of somebody else. Like I usually say, one of my biggest guidance in life is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I got another one too. If you get seed, laugh goody, man, because you know if you're gonna get goody and people gonna laugh you. Right? And if you do unto others what you expect them to do unto you, do it first. Well, I know it's 15. You tune to it's 15 minutes past 8 o'clock on the 21st of February in the year 2024. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. We have a voice note. Let's play it.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Happy Friday. Continue the good work that you're doing. It edifies me a lot because if it wasn't for your program, I would not have known all the things that is occurring in my homeland.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. James Bond is an educated Black man, but he's a total embarrassment to himself. Yes, he's a total embarrassment to himself. How could he stoop so low? Low was going into the garbage. Low was going into the garbage for the PPP. And not even thinking about his own people. Listen, don't worry your head, people in Guyana, about James Bond. If he's an embarrassment to himself, he's an embarrassment to himself.
If you all come here every morning and talk about James Bond, you are giving him relevance, right? Some things you just got to swat and move on like flies. You swat and you move on. I don't know why you all still talking about James Bond every morning. Old people say targets last a week, no? Or a week and a day, which one? Why are you here this talk, though? Because I'm inviting the ERC to pay attention to this talk that I am going to be playing just now for you. Let's take this call first. Call it on.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to all of Guyana. You hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. This is for Barry Jack Deal. When someone show him, okay, this is a fault. The roads and what you are doing is not good. This and that. The first thing you just put, if what happened, I built 300, I couldn't even get this edit. You don't watch at the past. If someone show you that this is your fault, right? You try to improve your fault. You don't watch and say what the person used to do it. Because if you said what the person used to do 10 years ago, right? You're gonna do worse because you ain't watching at your mistake. You're watching at, oh, that man do that all the time. So I could do it. So you cannot get it right. So we see now with the road work, we Lambis in a jail is what he achieved because he always saying, I'm not gonna get this done. Watch how much road I do. Watch this I do. I do this, right? And you're watching for see the fault that's in front of him. He's not watching for see the fault. This man sounds so dumb when I add. I was listening if when Sherry Duncan at that times put it for their program just for the press conference. It sounds so foolish that I want to know if he real or he mock. Because I can't understand. Even yesterday, with critics asking me a question about Mohammed, right? It's simple. Mohammed under sanction. Really? Run for election. He could run. Is the idea yes or no? Right? You're going to say people going to lose, visa going to get taken away and these things. What sense it make? Right? There's not why I ask you. I ask you if it's right that Mohammed gets sanctioned and could run for presidency. Mohammed never see running, but he just doing outreaching and they're getting confused by saying the popularity that we pull in Blackbush.
You see, Carlo, let me step in here and explain this to you. And I always tell people this. I got no respect for Jag. But I always say Jagdi and Woyi are perhaps the two best real politicians in this country. They ain't got no qualms about doing what got to be done to maintain or retain political power. And what Jagdi exhibited there yesterday in reference to Mohammed and the quote-unquote innuendo, let me say innuendo, that people could be sanctioned just like Mohammed for dealing with him and so on. It's what we call fear-mongering. The PPP has always engaged in fear-mongering in the Indo-Guyanese community. A lot of Indo-Guyanese will tell you they dare not openly in their community pledge support for any political party other than the PPP because they will live in torment every single day of their life in that community. And that is what Jagdi was doing. That's what he was doing. And he didn't mention it in the earlies when people started saying Mohammed for president and this and that. He said, all I want you all know is that anybody who chose their hat, and paraphrasing, into the political ring against the PPP will come under greater scrutiny. Y'all could remember that statement?
Yes.
Exactly. And that is all he's doing. His intimidation, his fear-mongering, is abuse to keep people in line. So when all of them crying crocodile tears because David Hines are just the bottom lickers in the African Guyanese community, they are guilty of doing worse than that to the Indo-Guyanese community. Continue, sir.
Yeah, one thing more I have to say. There's really post them that I see falling. Those lamp pole, right? If I planting a fence, right? I gonna buy a 6 feet post. The post hole can dig 4 feet because the 6 feet I want up in here. 4 feet that's down into the ground. And when you dig it down to the ground, we use those paper card tubes, right? And we put it down in the hole. When we put it down in the hole, there's 4 feet down in the hole. Then we cast concrete. Because why? Right, the cross for the snow, just push up the posts, right? And the post is just 10 feet, and we just get 6 feet up in the air and 4 feet in the ground. And it's cast in concrete, not that spot white sea, right? So it's 4 feet of concrete slab that posts into the ground. Why? Because the snow, when the place get cold in the winter, they just push the post up. It's just a 10 feet post, and the pole, those lamp pole either be at 45 feet or 50 feet, right? And you just get a spot of concrete inside. Come on, these people supposed to dig if the post is a 12-inch circle, either they got a 20-inch hole, and that cast in concrete, and the concrete is what hold the post down in the ground, right? So I can see how the public works, GEC, and the government could get that happening. A simple layman could do that, and you have engineering.
You know, I didn't study engineering, or building construction and all of that, but I know for a fact that there is a calculation in terms of ratio. If you're going to have anything standing at X height, then you have to have so many feet below, right? Yes, I understand. Even when I'm doing my simple fences, domestic fence, we dig like the same 10 feet post and we cast concrete in it. Because then you cater for when it rains and the earth becomes soggy and so on. It doesn't, you know, but
right.
What do you got for me?
The 4 feet of concrete when they in the post slacking it around from at the bottom to the top. Right? And that's stable. Then you put now jack for hold it that it stay plumb till when the concrete knit after two days, and then you release it. That's stable it. So it plumb and it's straight. Okay, brother, you have a great day.
You too. So I say I want to see what the ERC should be paying attention to. They don't see everything, you know. So sometimes we got to drive to their attention. Right? Just as though they want to charge David Hines, they want to open investigation into David Hines' utterances and so on and so forth. I wish they would find this young lady, whoever she is, and open an investigation.
Hi, good night, Guyanese. This is a little message from your friend Sima Pasari, plenty love. Tonight I was selling my Amazon mail. Sarah, I just want you to listen to the story. If you, I know you're going to listen to it. Because you had some black boy there was selling, going through KFC there, selling little the spring or whatever we sell. People don't see it yet, so we're selling up. Seems to be something sudden I want away from me past. So he had 2 black boys with his wife. And by selling me asked him if you want anything, he said no. Ask your brother. When you done, you laugh, right? You make fun. So I tell him, you must make fun out of people what they in their situation. So me come off, me move off on the KFC there. And me go me sit down back at the part where they plant to stay. So basically now, there's 2 black men come out now. This security put this black man in for do. I'm gonna go stand up your 2 security them. They was right there, present there, and I do nothing when the black man and them do the video. So when they do it now, because they planned this was a plan. And Sarah, let me tell you something, the same black man were down, they go kill you right there. You know what I make? Most of black people like you deal with right now too. Basically now they go and take on their phone and start disrespecting and start cuss, and me cuss them back. Because let me tell you something, any good black man was dead one. Me used to got respect for black people, but not anymore. Black people not good. Me said, I sit down there, this 2 black man come out, and they do video, and I make fun out of me. Me had me put it back there, and attack how wicked. A mother selling for her son, trying to make a living for eat something, and real wicked. If me wanna fuck around there, when you go say something, I mean I pick fucking fear the star one. Let me tell you something, I a big man. Pull up your fucking people in your place. Never mind $1 million I give for the Starbucks. The Starbucks now take them fucking nice past me. What she do now when me Rahul sit down? Rahul sell tonight, you know, the security now make it sell. The fucking black man on fucking cross, believe me, the 2 black security where you got it. They used to they good, but here what happened? People go and sometimes people make you lose fucking faith. This at 12 o'clock we reach home, right? Your mal when people don't buy from the Starbucks, then
I can't afford 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes of my time, but I know y'all get the idea. And I know ERC listening, so ERC, y'all know what to do about that. Right? We got our own ERC too, you know. So y'all don't think it's y'all alone at ERC. We got ERC, we got our monitors too. So I don't think it's a Samuel Fanfairs alone can monitor. We monitoring too. We are monitoring too. Right? Don't think it's the Faroukans alone could investigate. We investigating too. Because if the ERC working for us, then we gotta get a parallel, set up a parallel organization that is working for us. So keep that in mind. Right? Thank you for thank you to the first Cash App contributor for the morning. You mean it's so long this information there after somebody tell me put it up. We just get the first contribution. I welcome it though. Thank you. Hey, I don't only throw shades, you know. I could be a old forest, so you gotta be careful with me. Right? It's 29 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. We're still tuned to the Guyanese morning time, and we're still having a free talk Friday. So let's play this voice note.
Morning, brother Kidaki. Good morning. All right, thing in Guyanese. African people, we have to stand up. We have to stand up. You see what the PPP governments, install government, done to that bootlicker? Send him to embarrass himself and embarrass his family and all his slave catchers and the bootlickers and the people. We have to stand up. We have to stand up. You see what the PPP governments, install government, done to that bootlicker? Send him to embarrass himself and embarrass his family and all his slave catchers and the bootlickers and the body lickers that he catch. And that's they are wrong him. You understand me? Now the ERC. Wait. The ERC are now wake up and see that there's something wrong you are doing to African people in this country. Why is only African people you are going against? What happened to Higgins? People, especially Mr. Gelal, your last boss, he cussed out. And said the man is a murderer. What happened to the ERC? You cannot go after this man. Wait, to be honest, it's so backward, you're backward, and racial, you're backward, ERC. You know, it's a racial institution. You know, it's a racial institution. You know, you're back up against the wall just to because when you see this instant government change. When you see this instant government change, it's not going to be easy, you know. Because the thing you're doing is going to backfire for y'all. And I hope y'all can take it. And the DPP, I hope y'all too can take it. You understand me? Come on, bro. Y'all get to work to do. Y'all not doing the right thing that y'all supposed to do. You know? The ERT is for everybody that go out of line. And I think what that time said is freedom of speech. You understand me? What's critics? Critics use all kind of indecent language towards African people in this country. And y'all can put in critics in. Young people who support the install government. Y'all putting them in. And I call on the liars them. They have to deal with the ERC. The ERC need to be taken to court. Need to be facing the courts. You understand me? Need to be facing the court. Dr. Hans right with what he say. He's right. He's perfect. He's perfect. What he say? He is a bootlicker. He is a slave catcher. And then I'm still. I read something on workshop, but then I'm still. Listen, the people that get to work in the Namsel is PPP bootlickers, ex-slave catchers. It's only for them getting work on the work that they're doing in the Namsel are done much up already. And they share small contract, they're getting in the Namsel, they share small contracts, like $6 million. And when they get the contracts, they have to hire Indian people, equipment them. They don't have no equipment. The government is empowering black people with no equipment. The Indian people are empowering black people. So black people getting crumbs again. The slave catchers, they getting crumbs, James Bond. You're going on catching slave for the PPP. Oh, you know, then I'm still all getting contract. You know what's going on. You is a slave catcher. But the slave catcher, then I'm saying, can't catch no more slave no more. You can't catch no more. Because everybody just imagine you have a project at the community center right now. The project, if you see this project, one of the most worst project, the slave catching and observe that, Jordan. One of the most worst project doing right now, the slave catcher. And you got nobody working with him from the Namsari, bring people from out of the village. 3-4 things working out there, so he can't get no other slave. He go to people for work, and instead of not working with the guy, he rob them tremendously. The local government election, so he can't get no other slave in the Namsari. So all those people working with people, the PPP, they sign out to them. They put the sign with them because you're not giving no black people work without you're working for them and you're voting for them. Come on, bro. Don't get stupid. You embarrass yourself on your family on a backline program, on a work program. You embarrass yourself. You look like a client. You use not to know no lie. I want to which client you just get. Who you just represent as lying? You're a disgrace to Guyana. You're a disgrace to African people. You're a disgrace to African people, bro. Look at those programs, see how smart you look like a client. You look like one of the most dumbest lies in this country. Look at you, your question was proposed to you, and you ask him a question out of line. You ask him a question, you ask him back a question. This what kind of lie? That's one of the most backward lies they got in this country. You just like the house living, then I'm still y'all are relatives. Tell me to understand the house living, then I'm still here, Jordan, and you related very close to. So you see this thing in your DNA,
Well, let's stop getting personal. The lines remain open 6225933 is the number to call. We got more voice notes to play. I tell you, there's a thin line between the public and the personal. I'd rather we deal with the public.
Blessings and good morning, my brother, to you and our listeners. This is a call for the VP. Barra Jagdeo, I know you can't win this election. When you demit office, if you ain't go to prison, go somewhere up in Mupinuni, build a little house up there and stay away from people because you're not nice. He's a liar, he's a con man, you're dishonest, it have no good things to say about you. So please, when you demit office, if you ain't go to jail, go up in Mupinuni, build a little hut up there and stay up there. Stay up there until God we're ready for you. Because you're trying to disgrace a whole country because of your racial apartheid policies. Karaki, I am out, my brother. Have a good weekend and be safe. Watch your back. Watch them fellas. Watch them.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning, all Guyanese, near and far. I must put in my 2 weeks. Mr. Anthony, you forget the Indian boy that said, oh, Guyanese, black man, I was hungry, and he got poison them out, and they effing this and they effing that. The ERC need to look into that, and I think you need to play that tape more regular. Another thing, I want to talk about the border issue. This government doesn't have Guyana at heart. All they're studying is to pull their pocket of the money and bankrupt the country. Because it seems as though they realize that they're going to be out of the government soon, so they're borrowing left, right, and center. And I think they need to take a little example from Burkina Faso leader, where he's empowering his army, and the time they take for going buy them to playing with it, so they buy from India. They could have bought a drone or two, because right now the people using drone to take out the enemy. Sending them on with a canoe with them 2 hours power, they can't work against them terrorists, them no. So Jagdi and them need to get their act together and put the country first, but they're not doing that. And another thing, they have it against black people. I don't know what we do them, but black people have to realize we have the power in our arms. They said we are consumers, yes. That's why we have the power. We need to stop buying from them. Because as our leader, former leader, Pops Bottom said, produce or perish. And that word speaks volume. We have a backyard, plant something, you know how much money you could make from your simple backyard. Start cultivating your backyard, you get a white space, then flowers thing can't work. So if we start producing and we bring our little produce into the market, in our community, you're going to see the effect what they're going to get from them other Indian sellers. Yes, they have the good Indians, but we got to start supporting our own because they do support the own. Because when you watch the market, they go and buy from their own. So the black people go all over like wild sheep. So we need to regroup and come again and stand with each other. Thank you.
Thank you for that voice note.
Good morning, Ms. Kadaki. Good morning to your viewers this morning. I just want to make a few comments. Now, the vice president has said because it does really make a the shop show this guy just got when the authority come. Like this guy don't find nothing proper to talk or like he just come on a comedy show, you know? And share lies is spit out to this big man mouth, you know? Imagine you running a country and he's spreading all those lies and he got his supporters, them who brainwash will follow him. Now, all his focus was on nothing, one nothing do, one nothing say, one nothing this, one nothing do. This all he focusing. Next thing you know, he turn on the Muhammad. Like Muhammad's got them so busy, they cannot focus. You know, Muhammad doing far better than what he's doing. You know, so they're trying to criticize, they're trying to bring down the guy. But remember, the guy is a man of Allah, the man serving Allah. These people so wicked. At least he's serving Allah, but I don't know what Allah he really serving because he's different. He's a different Muslim to Muhammad. What's Muhammad different to Ali? You know, Muhammad are clean. Muhammad reaching out to each and every one of the Guyanese people. You know, Ali are so clean as Muhammad because if Ali had the clean and he was a real true Muslim, he want to be victimizing and be so wicked and vindictive. Some of his supporters plus also among the Muslim brothers and sisters, you know. So I don't know what these guys is really come up with and trying to tear a bundle of nonsense and thing. Another thing, they're criticizing the transparency international thing now. They're saying it political and they're saying it this and saying it that. These people are a bunch of jokers because they realize that 2025 election coming, so they come with all kind of gimmick and all kind of lies and spelling all kind of lies, you know. But everybody finding them out because they know there's a last term and each and every one of them going to be whole accountable for all this skullduggery they do, all the resources they spend squandering and thieving, all they're going to be accountable. So they're running like head without chicken and thing. You see, they want to control all the institutions, they want to GCOM this, but we already know what's like the thing there, you know. She in a bag already, so she can't really come out. So we already know where she heading. But the opposition should maintain and stand firm that they will not go to election without biometrics and without a clean voters list. And this is what they're running from because they're claiming that, oh, I've no wig. Well, if I've no wig last year, 2020, why you don't want the clean voters list and a biometric? Why you running from it? You know? Come on, these people so ridiculous and all they're doing is fooling the supporter and thing. And I want to thank Mr. Mohammed for doing what he's doing and Mohammed skinning so they don't like those, so they're trying to like bring down the man. Another one, these idle lunatics like Daily News. I don't know who own this newspaper, Daily News, trying to bring down, but whatever they're doing, they cannot bring down this guy. You know, this guy is a man of Allah and this man heart clean, you know, and a lot of people back him. The man is running for president, but just the good works the man doing, a lot of people forget the man, a lot of followers are behind the man, and they're really afraid of. So don't let it come down with people that said and nonsense and bundle of crap. Thank you.
I see left, right, and center people bigging up Mohammed. I don't want to be accused of being ignorant again. I don't know what Mohammed is about, and so I can't really comment on what Mohammed is doing in his wrongs and so on. I don't know what Mohammed is about until Mohammed says to this, hey, I have an interest in running for the presidency or for leadership. I have a political party that will contest the next election. Only then and then I think I can comment on Mohammed and his political ambitions and so on. I don't know what they are. Right? Well, you know, sometimes the man just running around there. You know, some people like he has sleepless nights and like got you worried. Sometimes he just got enough resources that he can play with and decide that he gonna bother somebody's head and see if they're gonna want to do better. Good. So I can't say yeah or nay for Mohammed. I can't say anything where Mohammed is concerned in politics. But what I noted from the COSOC conference yesterday is that previously Jagdeo was unable to say who were the people sanctioned and if people were sanctioned and if visas were taken away and so on and so forth. But apparently because Mohammed visited Blackbush Polo, wherever he been, Jagdeo suddenly ain't got amnesia no more. He can indicate that, hey, people lost their visas and people got sanctions and you gotta be careful because if you are associated with them, you could suffer the same fate. You know that? You know? So we gotta watch these banners. Like I say, you gotta read not only on the line, but you gotta read in between the lines. And when fool attack, fool mustn't listen. So when Jagdeo runs his mouth like verbal diarrhea on Thursdays, a lot of people make a big fuss out of what he says, but quite frankly, he doesn't say much. So I don't even know why. But let's tell you on relevance. Call you on.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. I would like the Guyana government, the PPP government to come out and tell the people why Mike Pompeo is coming to Guyana so often. Because Mike Pompeo was one who interfered in the 2020 election. Mike Pompeo is about to be under investigation with the Trump government right now. So I don't know why Mike Pompeo running to Guyana so often. So it could be that he got hands in this new election that's coming too, because Mike Pompeo is a gangster. That's why Trump gets rid of him. He's working outside of the party. So let the government come out and tell people why Mike Pompeo keep coming to Guyana, if they pay money from before or what. But I know anytime the government got and they keep running, and for more money, Mike Pompeo keep running to Guyana. Soon as they get money, Mike Pompeo in Guyana. So come out and let the people know what's really going on. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Colin. I want to show you how something that the ERC should investigate. Right? And I want you to look. I'm going to show you two videos. I want you to see the difference of treatment of citizens in this country and ask why the ERC is not commenting on this difference. This is a video where you will see the caption there. Zaria Abbas posted 3 hours ago, cash grant in Monrepo, smooth process. Right? That video was posted, I think yesterday, but let's look at it. Let's have a look. So 2 videos were posted there, right? You saw the one from Monrepo? Smooth process. You saw the number of people who were seated at Monrepo on the tents? I want you to see that. And I can tell you this. At Lusignan, at the center ground where apparently they paid yesterday or they're paying whatever, I personally drove past there and there were no less than 9 tents. And those tents look like 20 by 20. So there are no less than 9 20 by 20 tents at the Lusignan ground to accommodate residents who go there to collect their cash money, cash grant. Good. But over in Mocha, yesterday, they had one single person. You was a man, one person they had dealing with cash grant. There were no seats for the elders. There were no seats for anybody, as a matter of fact. Right? There were no seats for anybody, as a matter of fact. And so is it. It's one government. There's one guy according to them. But the standards for distributing the cash grant can be so different. 9/10 to cater for people who go to collect cash grants in an Indo-Guyanese community. But a solitary tent, if any, in an African Guyanese community. Several stations in an Indo-Guyanese community where people can go and collect money, but one solitary individual working at Mocha yesterday. Recipe for chaos. And then they post these videos to say that black people, African Guyanese, are so disorderly. They're so thuggish. Everything is a brawl for them. Why the ERC doesn't investigate? This video is compliment to Big Smith News Watch or whoever. Big Smith posted it this morning, I think. This is Mocha. I want you to see it. This is Mocha, early this morning. This is Mocha. But then they're going to say, well, them black man disorderly. Them black man again order. Not that they say. But never get the thing to play, man. Let me see. You have to play though. They always quick to ridicule African Guyanese for their behavior. But they create the conditions for African Guyanese to behave in a certain way. Why the ERC doesn't investigate that? Because I believe these accusations they want to paint us in a certain way. And some of us fall into the trap because we recognize it's a trap. Right? Some of us fall in the trap because we don't recognize the trap. If we talk about ethnic relations and an ethnic relation commission, I'm of the firm belief that that commission should also have a mandate and responsibility to ensure fairness and balance in the delivery of government services. And so the ERC should investigate across this country what are the standards being used in African Guyanese communities versus the standards being used in Indo-Guyanese communities. How about that? Yeah? How about that?
Blessed new day, blessed new rising, Brother Kadaki and all the viewers, all the listeners. Brother Kadaki, yourself, and Dr. Hines, Brother Cheryl Duncan, Brother Mark Benstrap, all the sisters them, and all the rest of brothers them. Y'all continue doing the good work and continue being blessed. The ERC is a wicked bunch and a wicked arm of the PPP. You understand? The wicked and the nasty, just like the PPP, and nobody shouldn't get no time with the ERC. Anytime anybody go to the ERC, is to abuse them out and tell them of wayside, the turning the back on and thing. A little boy talk about poisoning out black people. What about if it was a little black boy talk about poisoning out our Indian brothers and sisters? I'm advocating for that happen to nobody. But what about if was the other way around? You would hear them going on, and they feel because some black people taking the buyout, the buyout for the crumbs, they feel that they got things good. But let me tell you something: pressure is bust pipe, and people take till they can't take no more. You understand? People should take till they can't take no more. They won't like for Dr. Hines to reach in front of them. They won't like them because they know.
So it is 5 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. Unless you have a call to make or a message to send, I've exhausted the voice notes. I don't have any other call. And so why don't we spend 5 minutes contributing some money to the upkeep of Clams TV? Thank you to those people who dropped their contributions in Zelle. Thank you to the one who dropped in Cash App. And I'm waiting for the others. In the meantime, you know my favorite song to play? Yeah, I see for you. That's my favorite song to play. Big up yourself if you know the words of this song by now. This is a cartoon from Mashramani. Custodian of this song, you want it? I'm going to inbox it to you.
Listening to the news like Gordon Mosley. And listening to the things that he say he trapped in tonight. Paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. But when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I had to declare them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced people that people they learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say the ERC pretend that they didn't learn nothing. But once you're black and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that. They say the ERC coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Guyana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern. I hope one day black people will learn. Something about this ERC that I would like to know. If any of his members happens to be black people, And if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair. And we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man went to kill out all black people, my boy.
Thank you. I waste so much time there. I was saying to add insult to injury, I was told, allegedly, that they sent Kwame to Moko to cuss out the people yesterday. So instead of trying to fix the situation, they sent the big bottom on Wolf to cuss out the people. How can that be fair? Now, my thing is, maybe they're saying they can't find enough tents and chairs and tables and so to rent to make the people comfortable in those areas. Here, one EC party renter got. We rent chairs and tables and tents and all kinds of things, big tent, small tent, medium tent. Government again, you have to contact us. We got tent to rent, man. What you got going so for? Got the people in rain and sun and got people standing up in Moko when you got hundreds of chairs and tents and so on in places like Monipo and those kind of things. You have damn sparse people. The ERC must check that out. Right? It's a minute past the 9 o'clock, so it's time for me to go. It's Friday. Y'all know what I do on Friday. I gotta go feed my children them. And so I'm about to go leave you. Y'all have a great day. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Now remember, make your contributions to the program. Nobody's saying song. You still got some problem? Well, I don't know what's going on, but I got. Bye-bye. I hope you all heard the closing statements I made. As I see people still are in song. No song. The closing statements I made. Yeah, you were hearing me because I'm here. Much love. Talk to y'all later.